oxygen levels in our body are very high, so that the metabolism, the burning of fat, the utilization of nutrients is much, much better if the oxygen consumption is higher. So if you have an iron deficiency, your oxygen consumption also goes down, and that is going to be dangerous. Now, similar to vegetarian sources and non-vegetarian sources of protein, iron also, there is something known as heme iron and non-heme iron. So, heme iron basically comes from the non-vegetarian sources like your egg, poultry. These are the main sources, and organ meats are something which are going to have a high heme iron content. The non-heme will be present in the vegetarian sources. Which are the vegetarian sources? Essentially, we have certain leafy vegetables like spinach, lettuce, broccoli, green peas, spring onions, black-eyed peas, chickpeas, nuts, and seeds. These are high sources of vegetarian protein. Okay, sorry, vegetarian iron. Okay. Now, as I told you, non-vegetarian sources are better absorbed as compared to the vegetarian sources. Okay, but all said and done, even if you're a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian, what is essential for your iron absorption in the body is that you have to have good amount of vitamin C in the diet. Okay. Now, what is vitamin C? Vitamin C is anything that is present in the sour fruits. Okay, so your lemon, which you're squeezing on your subsies, or probably a glass of lemon water after your meals, or having citrus fruits like pineapple, oranges, sweet lime in the day. That is all something which is vitamin C rich. Okay, amla. Then having 1 tablespoon of amla first thing in the morning. These are very small things which you can incorporate in the diet, not very difficult, not really going out of your way, but that is going to help in your iron absorption. A lot of time people are cooking in iron kadhais, but you need to be extremely careful about it because iron available in these elemental forms is going to harm the body if the iron vessel that you're using for cooking is not cleaned properly. Okay? So you need to be extremely careful when you're cooking in the iron vessels. So even if you're able to manage taking sources of iron from the food, you can manage to make up to the iron extent or the iron content. One very good source of iron is RE seeds, which is known as garden iron. You can think about consuming that in some form or the The next thing we move on to is colored fruits and vegetables. Like this sounds very mundane. It sounds, probably, okay, we know like we have to consume fruits and vegetables, but you have to consume fruits and vegetables. Very, very essential, okay? The reason being, the color of the fruits and vegetables, okay? That is, the purple color, the red color, the green color. These colors have got something which is known as phytochemicals. Now, phytochemicals are antioxidants which help to fight infections. Okay, so that is why it is very, very important that you have to consume fruits and vegetables in the day. Again and again and again, I would again and again keep on talking about the importance of colored fruits and vegetables. They are a must. Now, how many you should be consuming in the day? We consider as a thumb rule 5 servings of fruits and vegetables in the day. Okay, so how does that go? You can consume one fruit anytime in the day you want, any colored fruit. It need not be like ये नहीं खाना है क्योंकि इसमें ज़्यादा calories है. No, you can consume any one fruit in the day. It could mean even a muskmelon, a watermelon. Rotate the fruits. You can have an apple, pear, banana, chiku. You can have all these fruits. Have more of a variety. So one fruit in the day is essential. Salads in the form of your raw salads or koshimis which you eat in the afternoon, okay, or in the lunch and in the dinners. That is going to give you 2 servings of your vegetables, and the subsies that you're preparing is also going to give you the vegetables in the that is the servings in the day. So 5 servings, 1 fruit, 2 servings of salads, and 2 servings of the prepared subsies is going to take care of the phytochemicals or the antioxidants, and that is very important to build up your immunity. Very, very important. So what colored fruits and vegetables do? They help to fight free radical damage, okay, because it maintains the integrity of the cell. A healthy cell needs a better immunity. It's a take-in, okay. It also gives you vitamin A and E, which are best sources of antioxidants. It also gives you vitamin C. Some of the fruits which are sour, as I told you, they also contain vitamin C. So they are something which are small packets of healthy nutrients which you should be consuming at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables in the day. Okay. Then we move on to certain foods in the diet. If you make it a point to consume every day, you are going to build up your immunity over a period of time. Okay. Now one very important thing that you need to understand is, even if you start building your immunity, you cannot, it doesn't happen that today in a week's time only when I start consuming all these good foods and my immunity is going to be very good, and it's going to be taken care of. No, it's a slow process. You have to work towards it. So you are building your immunity, and adding these foods and removing the other junk foods out of your diet is going to help you to improve your immunity over a period of time. Okay. So what you need to consider about ghee. Now, ghee is something which has got short chain fatty acids. Okay. In Ayurveda also there is a lot of importance of ghee, and I really stick by it, because ghee, first of all, it is something which heals your entire digestive tract. Okay, so that is the first advantage of ghee. Second is, ghee contains something which is known as a short chain fatty acid. Okay, now you all know that our intestines, especially the large intestine, are made up of healthy microorganisms or healthy bacteria. Okay, now these healthy bacteria help us to produce nutrients. They help us to build up our immunity. They help us to fight infection by attacking the pathogens. So we need to increase the load of our healthy microorganisms. A lot of times, because of antibiotic consumption, because of consuming higher junk food in the diet, because of not consuming enough of fruits and vegetables in the diet, the count of these microorganisms starts going down. And once this count starts going down, the immunity also starts going down eventually. Okay, so we need to increase this microorganisms which are there. Now, how does that improve? First thing is the fruits and vegetables that I was just talking about. Fruits and vegetables contain something which is known as prebiotics. Okay, prebiotics is the fiber, and the microorganisms grow on that fiber, and that is something which is very essential for having a good gut health. Okay, so that is the first thing. Second thing is, because of the short chain fatty acids present in the ghee, the microorganisms feed on it, they multiply, they have more of the kinds built up, and of course the kind of metabolites that they generate help us to increase the immunity. Okay, so that is the importance of ghee. It should not be it should not be missed out, or it should not be even interpreted like, because I'm having ghee, I'm going to put on weight. That is one myth which I need to really tell you about. Don't ever consider that at all. Okay, the second important component is turmeric. Now, turmeric is available in our day-to-day cooking. Okay, but if you see, that there are different. If you must have observed any time, there are different colors of turmeric which are present. Okay, so you will find a turmeric which is slightly bright yellow in color, a second turmeric which is deep yellow in color. Okay, so I specifically am talking about this deep yellow color, because the antiseptic properties of turmeric are all dependent upon something which is known as curcumin. Okay, the deep yellow color of a turmeric powder is something that is going to so the curcumin level in this deep yellow color is going to be much higher as compared to the light yellow color. So looking for the deep yellow color. Now, where will you get these? You will easily get it, in any organic stores, or if you know any supplier who is giving organic turmeric. So how do you need to consume this turmeric? I think we all are using it into our daily sabzi preparation. That's a wonderful thing in Indian cooking, I feel. Apart from that, you can, if you're not consuming as much there, and if you want to consume some more, you can take 1 teaspoon of ghee early in the morning, add about 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric into it, mix it up together, eat it, drink warm water over it, and then you sort it out for the day. So you are taking care of your antiseptic properties, and are also helping to flourish the microorganisms both at one time. Okay. One more thing that you could do is, you could have a turmeric latte. That is turmeric haldi doodh, what we call. Okay, that's extremely good. Not only because of the turmeric present in it, but turmeric and milk combination is extremely good for building up this immunity, or as an antiseptic property. So you should consider using that as well. Okay. Okay. Then the next thing we move on to, and this is something which I have recently learned, and it is gaining a lot of importance these days, is something which we call as probiotics. Now, what are probiotics? The dahi which we eat. Okay, we all know that we use live cultured dahi, right? It's the lactic acid bacteria. Now, this lactic acid bacteria is something that helps us to grow the good microorganisms in the gut. okay? And recent researchers have shown that every ailment is related to your gut health, okay? So let it be diabetes, PCOS, hypothyroidism, food allergies, food intolerances, everything is related to how your gut is healing or how your gut is performing. Even IBS, even acidity, constipation, everything finally, if it boils down to how your gut is, having a healthy gut is extremely important. And how does that happen? Probiotics, prebiotics. So and right now I'm going to talk about probiotics. So probiotics are like microorganisms which then help us to multiply in the body, and the load of the good microorganisms increases, and automatically your immune system starts getting better, okay? So where do you get these probiotics? You get these probiotics from the dahi which you eat at home. Buttermilk will also have those. If you want to specifically look for certain good strains of microorganisms over and above the curds and the buttermilk that you're consuming, Yakult, which you see in the market, is having a better strain of microorganisms. So, if you feel like, okay, my stomach is upset, or, I'm not able to digest food better, try doing this. Try having a probiotic drink first thing in the morning, and that will help you to improve your gut much, much better. Again, a few things that have gained importance is aged cheese. Apple cider vinegar is something again which helps you to increase the it functions as a probiotic. And pickles, okay? When I talk about pickles, I'm not talking about the Indian pickles over here. Okay? I'm talking about pickles like sauerkraut, okay? If you must have heard of, it's a cabbage pickle. It's an ancient Japanese and Chinese way of making pickles, and these are having live microorganisms present. So then there is sauerkraut, which is there, okay? Tempeh, which is there, which is like fermented soya bean curd. This is also having a very high amount of probiotics present in it. Miso paste, that is also going to have a high amount of probiotics present in it. So these are all the things which you should slowly start consuming in the diet. And best way is to see that you're having either one bowl of curd definitely in the day, or one glass of buttermilk in the day for sure. And again, try to have a homemade buttermilk and a homemade curd, because you're sure of the quality of culture that is going. Okay, so probiotics is very, very essential. Once your gut is healed, your immunity is high, your body is going to fight all the infections, and you are also going to stay away from metabolic disorders over a long period of time. Now, exercise, I think you all must be knowing exercise is very, very essential. Okay, now exercise is essential because it helps in boosting us the immune system. How does it do that? Basically, sweat removes all the toxins that are generated from the body. I'm sure you all must be knowing this. It increases the oxygen uptake. I've spoken enough about why oxygen uptake is essential, so that the immune system starts getting better. It reduces the stress hormone cortisol. Okay. Now, what is the relation between cortisol and immunity? What happens is, a lot of times when we are stressed, any form of stress, okay, it could be an office stress, or it could be some physical kind of a stress. There is a lot of emotional kind of a stress. There is a lot of stress hormone cortisol which is generated. Now, cortisol, because of the higher generation of that, starts compromising on the immune system. So it is seen in a lot of times when people are, when there is cases of depression, or if there are cases of probably you have not been keeping very well, like or you've been over exercising for some or the other reason, you might just start feeling a little feverish here and there, or start having a body ache here and there, or start having a runny nose and a cold. This all indicates that your cortisol levels are really increasing. So you need to get down these cortisol levels. So as I was just saying, you would say, abhi to bol rahi hai ki exercise karna chahiye, and now she's saying too much of exercise. So you need to strike a balance. That's very, very important. Okay, too much of exercise, compromises on the immunity. Good amount of exercise helps in boosting the immunity. So how much should this exercise be, which we call as a good exercise? Anything which is going to be minimum of 20 to 30 minutes every day. Okay. Now, what is the kind of exercise that you should be doing? Very, very important. There are, according to me, see, of course, cardio, there will be different things, like there'll be running, skipping, cycling, etc. But that is what we call as an aerobic activity. So cardio is an aerobic activity, weight training is an anaerobic activity, and yoga has a different charm by itself. Okay. So if you consider a cardio activity, cardio, weight training, and yoga should be done in rotation in a week. Okay. Now, how is that possible? When I talk about